Want to learn how to sketch? Keep watching. Hello everyone and welcome to Make with Ajay. And in this quick sketching tutorial, I'm going to show you how to draw water drops in different ways. First, let's start with the materials that I used. First and foremost, this is a mechanical pencil of 0.5 mm lead. You can use either 2B or HB lead along with it. It's really useful for those very fine details. Along with that, I'll also be using these graphite pencils in 2B and 6B for lighter and darker shade. I'll also be using these paper stumps. They are really good for those smooth blending. And some dry paint brushes, again for blending. And a very special tool that I'll be using is the Tombow Mono Zero Eraser. It's nothing but just like a mechanical pencil, but instead of lead, it has this really fine eraser that you can use to create those really fine white details. So without further ado, let's grab our sketch pad and let's get started. So for this first type of water drop, I used a 0.5 mm lead pencil and a penny to draw a small circle on the paper. You often see these water drops in spherical form on the leaves or on many other surfaces. So I decided to draw this first water drop in a spherical form. Let's assume that our light is coming from the top left corner. And thus I drew the highlight in the water drop at the top left corner because that's where the light was coming from. Now the corner from where the light is coming in the water drop, we will make that corner darker, just leaving the highlighted space. So just leave the space where you have created the highlight and make everything else in that corner a bit dark, and make that shade fading away as you move to the opposite corner. So your shades will be dark to light as you move from top left corner to the bottom right corner. And on the bottom right corner, which is the opposite side from the source of light, just leave the space completely blank or completely white, roughly in the shape of a crescent moon. And now let's draw the shadow, which will be in the opposite direction from the source of light, which is the bottom right corner. For this spherical drop, I will draw the shadow in the form of a W. So create the shape like a W and then shade the outer part of that shadow darker and leave the inner part of that W completely blank or white. And now I'll use a paper stump to smooth out all the shading. The shading should appear as smooth as possible, and paper stump is an excellent tool to do that, keeping in mind those teeny tiny details and the spaces that you need to leave. That pointed tool really makes it easy to shade and smooth out the pencil even in the tiniest possible place. While smoothing out the shadow using my paper stump, I'll smudge the graphite a little bit towards the outer area so that the shadow may blend in the outer space. I'll also use the paper stump to make a U shape underneath the white area of the shadow, and will smooth out and smudge everything so that it may not appear as if it's a rigid shape, but a natural homogeneous shape. And now I'll use a 6B graphite pencil to make the darker part of the water drop even more dark. I'll also make the shadow a bit darker right underneath the water drop. And then, just like the last time, I'll use the paper stump to blend everything and smooth everything out. And now I'll use this Tombow Mono Zero eraser to make the brighter part of the water drop a bit more bright. We need to create a balance between the dark and light inside the water drop. So I'm using the eraser to create sort of a spherical shape towards the brighter side of the water drop, and while doing that I'm trying to make sure that everything is perfectly blended and is as smooth as possible. And now I'll be using a white jelly roll pen to make the highlighted area even more brighter. This is an optional step and you can use it if you're working on a dark surface, but if you're working on a white paper, you can even leave this step. So just a few touch-ups at the end, and our first water droplet is ready. It actually looks like a round spherical water droplet. It's just sitting there on paper. So cute. And now let's draw another type of water droplet. And this time let's assume that our surface area is a bit darker. So I rub my graphite pencil all over the paper to make it a bit darker. And this time, let's assume that the light is coming from the right side. I'll use a dry brush to smudge the graphite and make it smoother. And then I'll use the Tombow Mono eraser to create a rough shape of the water droplet. It doesn't have to be necessarily spherical or round, cause the water drops can be in any shape. But just for this example, let's create a round shape to keep it simple. And then I use the putty eraser to erase everything inside that shape. You don't need to use the putty eraser, it's just that it was lying there and I wanted to use it, so I used it. You can also use a normal eraser. And then I use the pencil to define the sphere a little bit better and drew an outline around the sphere. And just like the last time, we will start shading from the direction of the source of light. In this case, since the light is coming from the right side, we will keep the right side of the droplet darker than the left side. And now let's create the shadow in the opposite side of the light, which is the left side of the water drop. This time I'm creating the shadow very simple, assuming that our water droplet is rather flat than spherical in shape. You can study various reference images and concentrate on how the shadow appears depending upon the direction of the light and the shape of the object. That will help you a lot. And now I'm just using the same pencil again to make the darker part even more dark. And now let's smooth everything out using this paper stump. And now let's use the Tombow Mono Eraser to make the brighter part of the droplet more bright. And then I use the dry brush to smooth out everything once again. And now the most important step, which is to create the highlight. And for this jelly roll pen plays an important role because we are creating a really thin highlight, And that's where the detailed part of this teeny tiny nib of the jelly roll pen comes really handy. So I use this jelly roll pen to create the white highlight on both the sides of the droplet. And with this, our second droplet is complete. Look how cute these two droplets are looking. Now let's use all the techniques that we have learned over here to create a quick small picture. I'm thinking of creating maybe a part of a window in a rainy day with lots and lots of different kinds of droplets. So I quickly used the masking tape to create the shape of my window, and I smudged the graphite pencil all inside that shape using my finger. And then I used the mechanical pencil to draw different kinds of many teeny tiny droplets on the window. Here you have the freedom to draw these droplets in any shape you want, cause there's no exact shape in nature. And then, assuming that our light is coming from the left side, I made the left side of all the droplets darker than the right side. I also created some shadow on the right side of some of the bigger droplets. And as usual, I used the paper stump to blend everything and make them smoother. And then I used the Tombow mono eraser to make the highlighted part even more brighter. Some final touch-ups with the jelly roll pen and our sketch was complete. I took out the masking tape and did some final touch-ups with the eraser, and here is our final reveal. Wow, this picture is so simple and so beautiful, just like a window in a rainy day. So that was it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed creating it. I hope these sketching tutorials are making you more confident with your sketching. These simple techniques will improve your sketching and take it to the next level. Please like this video if you learned something from it, and comment down below and let me know what would you like to see in future. Share this video with your friends. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification icon so that you may get notified about more such future videos. And as I always say, we are gonna make this world beautiful one thing at a time. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. I'll see you in future. Bye. Mwah.